Right, welcome back to another video, and thank you so much for tuning in. If I'm being honest, these videos are a bit of an afterthought. I want to document my journey to my very first ever half marathon. So 2 weeks ago I signed up to do a half marathon, and as of today we'll be 5 weeks out. All right, so it's the run's actually 5 weeks tomorrow. I signed up with 7 weeks out. And over the last 2 weeks I've had a little mini holiday. I've had an injury to try and deal with, which has really set me back. So I've really only got 5 weeks of prep left. I'm fairly confident I can actually finish the run, if I'm being honest. I've never ran that kind of distance before. The most I've ever ran before is 10k. This is just over double that. But apparently it's pretty flat. So I'm going to be doing the Falkirk half marathon. And as I say, apparently it is pretty flat. So I'm fairly confident that I can get myself through it. So what I wanted to do was do a series of videos documenting the training that I'm going to be doing leading up to the race, then a bit of kind of footage from the race itself, and then a summary at the end of the race to kind of tell you what went well, what didn't go quite so well, and what I'm going to do to improve next time, because I've got a goal of running a full marathon next year, maybe even two. So yeah, like I say, this was a massive afterthought. I started kind of doing it all and then thought, why don't I kind of film it? So the first video I filmed was me actually on the run earlier on today, and then I filmed me at the end of the run, and now I'm filming this. So I didn't do them anywhere near the order that I should have done them in. I should have done an intro video first, but hey ho, you live and you learn. So hopefully as we go on, there'll be less repetition on these videos, and more of a kind of clear and concise breakdown of exactly what I'm doing to kind of walk you through my preparation, getting me over that finish line, to get me over that finish line in 5 weeks time. So the goal of today's run was just to run for an hour, not to try and do any personal best. I wasn't trying to kind of hit any main big distances. It was just to run for an hour, and to run within what's called zone 2 heart rate. Now, I'm not an expert at heart zone training. It's not something I've really done too much of before. I'm very, very, very new to it, so I'm not going to try and break it down just now and kind of teach you all about it, because I would do a really terrible job. I'm going to be open and honest and admit that I would do a really terrible job. But over the next few weeks, the more I read into it, the more I will then be able to understand that on a deeper level, and then relay what I've learned to you, to kind of help you get a better understanding of it. But the goal for today wasn't to push myself. It wasn't to push myself to the point of crushing any personal bests, or making really fast times, or spiking my heart rate and putting in a real hard effort work. That's not what I was trying to achieve today. So there'll be a small video. The way this video is going to work is this will be an intro portion. I've got a wee bit of the run filmed. That'll be up next, and then at the end will be me doing a breakdown of how I feel things went. So like I say, there will be a bit of repetition over this video because it was very much an afterthought, but I hope it gives you a bit of an insight into what I'm going to be doing over the next 5 weeks, and kind of breaking down my training, my training schedule, or what I'm intending to do for the next 5 weeks to get me ready for that run and get me over that finish line. I don't care how long it takes. I just want to make sure I finish. So, but again, I'll break that down in the end of the video. So that is the intro done. The next step is to go and watch me run. I'll see you there. Right, so this is the first video that I've done really documenting the preparation that I'm doing for this half marathon. So I'm running a half marathon in 5 weeks tomorrow. So because I've never ran that distance before, I kind of had to change up my usual training. So this is the first thing that I've done a run. And I've done any kind of run while thinking about heart rate zones. I've never really trained like that before. So today's it's not so much a long run in terms of distance, but it's more so covering just over an hour. So I'm hoping to hit 10k in that time, but if it's just slightly under, then that's okay. So I'm running in zone 2, which, to be honest, is frustrating because I've got to run so slow that my heart rate stays on a certain level to kind of increase my aerobic capacity, but I just want to run faster. So while this is relatively easy from a cardiovascular standpoint, I can still hold a conversation. I don't feel massively out of breath. After yesterday's training at the gym, my legs feel completely burst. So just concentrating on keeping them going is an absolute chore. But should finish the run easy enough, so we'll see what happens, and hopefully it makes a difference, but watch this space. So that's the run done. 1 hour running, I think just over 8k, which is not the biggest distance. I wanted to obviously try and hit 10, but I'm trying to stick to the zone 2 thing, which, by the way, is bloody hard. Like, I looked at my watch and I spent most of the time in zone 4, so it was meaning my heart rate was far too high. But if I was going any slower, I'd have just been walking, so it would have kind of defeated the purpose. So I was going slow enough that I was able to kind of maintain conversation, which is what they say the point of zone 2 is to be in that kind of, as long as you can hold a reasonable conversation without blowing out your backside, then that's kind of where you're supposed to be. So it's not my area of expertise. I'm completely new to this, so it was a new concept to me. But I was just going by what my watch was telling me. I was in zone 4 a lot, but I didn't feel like I was exerting myself too much. Like, cardiovascularly, it felt fairly easy. I'm not really sweating all that much. The biggest struggle for me was my legs. Like I say, I had to move my training around a lot because I was away on holiday last week, so I had a fairly heavy leg session yesterday with a couple of interval runs thrown on, and I had a karate session this morning, which wasn't too difficult, but probably not the best conditions for doing the kind of run that I was going out to do. So all in all, I'm happy with the run. I'm happy with it from a cardiovascular standpoint. I felt like I could have just kept on going. Like, I didn't feel like I was getting let down at all in that area. My legs were, like I say, they were really struggling. I think if I had a better few days beforehand where my legs hadn't been so heavily worked, then that would have been so much easier, and I probably just could have kept that pace going. So I think, you know, I've got 5 weeks tomorrow until the half marathon. As long as my legs hold out, then that pace I could keep on going. It would probably take me about 2.5 hours to get around the whole thing, which I'd be happy with. So I've got 3 goals in mind. Like, I want to come under 2 hours would be like my gold medal finish. 2.5 hours is my silver medal, and just finishing the bloody thing is my bronze medal. So I'm looking at that from 3 different standpoints. So as it stands right now, with that performance today, cardio wise and time wise, the amount of time it took me to do that run, I reckon I'd be around about that sort of 2.5 hours mark. If I was able to kind of push that up a wee bit, like, you know, towards the last few kilometres on race day, then I might be able to make a little bit extra time up and get closer to that 2 hours. But we'll see what happens. I'm not, for this being my first one, and given that I've only had like, I only signed up with 7 weeks to go, so like, I signed up 7 weeks out, and not having really done a lot of running in the past. I'm just going in to finish the race essentially, and I've got my kind of landmarks of what I would like to achieve if I can. Then next year, when I start ramping up to do my first marathon, that's when I'll be looking to try and get those times down, and obviously having a more kind of serious training camp as such, kind of running into it. But for that first one, yeah, I'm fairly happy. So I think I'm going to go and stuff my face full of food now, and just see how I go the rest of the day. A wee bit of stretching and a wee bit of recovery, and then tomorrow off, a nice big walk, and then I can get back in and get started again with 3 full runs again next week. So yeah, here we go. This is my first video of documenting a half marathon prep. I should have probably done a before video, shouldn't I? Anyway, listen, man, if you've watched this, please hit the like button. I was in a bit of pain there, so that's the least you could do. Drop me a like, and if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm going to try and document my whole journey from start to finish. This is not really the official start, because I've done a few little training runs and stuff last week, the week before, but I had a couple of injuries, blah. So this has been my first really kind of actual serious prep run towards it, where I've actually focused on the right things that I'm going to need to do to actually see me through to the end of the race. So yeah, watch this space, make sure you hit subscribe, and then that way you'll see more of these videos as we go through the weeks, and obviously what happens on the marathon, the half marathon, and then my summary that I'll do afterwards. That's the kind of plan anyway. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.